Let me ask you something. What if in the next few minutes, you discovered that your English level isn't what you think it is?
Wait, that already sounds scary. Are you saying I might be worse than I believe?
Or better. That's the twist. Most people are wrong in both directions. Some underestimate themselves. Others are confidently making mistakes they don't even notice.
Okay, now I'm nervous. So this is like a test?
Not a typical test. No paper, no grades. This is a real conversation test. And if you're watching right now, you're part of it. Every reaction you have, every sentence you understand or miss, that's your real English level showing itself.
Oh, wow. So they're already being tested?
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. You can't cheat in this kind of test because it's not about memorized grammar rules. It's about how naturally you understand and respond.
That actually makes sense. I've met people who know all the grammar, but they freeze in conversations.
That's more common than you think. And today on Talk Easy Daily, we're going to reveal something powerful. By the end of this conversation, you'll be able to identify your real English level, honestly, clearly, and maybe even surprisingly.
Okay, I'm in. But how are we doing this exactly?
Through situations, real-life moments. I'll say things the way native speakers do, sometimes fast, sometimes casual, sometimes tricky. And you, yes, you watching, should ask yourself one question again and again.
Which is...
Did I understand that instantly?
Oh, not after thinking for 10 seconds?
Exactly. Instant understanding is the key. If you need to translate in your head, pause, or replay, that tells you something.
This is actually kind of exciting and a little dangerous.
Dangerous?
Yeah, what if I realize I'm not as good as I thought?
Then you've just taken the first real step toward improvement. Awareness beats illusion every single time.
That's deep. Okay, I like that.
And if you're watching right now, here's something important. Don't just sit passively. Engage. Answer in your mind. React. Even better, pause the video and speak your answers out loud.
Oh, that's a good idea. Should they comment too?
Absolutely. Drop a comment and tell us what surprised you the most about your English level today. We read those and it helps you stay accountable.
I feel like this is going to expose a lot of people.
Including you.
Hey, okay, fair enough.
Now here's where it gets interesting. In a moment, I'm going to say a sentence. It will sound simple, very simple, but it contains a hidden challenge.
Hidden challenge? I'm already suspicious.
Good, you should be, because English isn't just about words. It's about patterns, rhythm, and meaning under the surface.
Okay, I'm ready, I think.
Listen carefully.
I feel like something big is coming.
It is. And what you notice or don't notice will reveal more about your English than any exam ever could.
All right, let's do it.
Here's the sentence. But before I say it, quick question for you watching. Do you believe you're intermediate, advanced, or fluent?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, think about that.
Keep that answer in your mind, because by the end of this episode, you might completely change it.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
Good. Stay with us, because the next part is where the real test begins. All right, here's the sentence. Listen carefully. I was going to tell you, but I figured you'd already heard.
Wait, okay, that sounded fast. Can you say it again?
That right there, that reaction, that's part of the test.
Oh, come on, give me another chance.
Of course, but this time, don't just listen to the words. Notice how it feels. I was going to tell you, but I figured you'd already heard.
Okay, I caught more that time, but gonna, figured, you'd, it feels like everything is squeezed together.
Exactly. And here's the question for you watching. Did you understand that instantly, or did your brain start translating?
Yeah, be honest. Did you go like, okay, gonna means going to, figured means thought.
That internal translation process is the biggest signal of your current level.
So if someone understood it immediately, what level are they?
That's closer to advanced conversational fluency. Not perfect English, but natural processing.
And if they struggled?
That's where most learners are. And that's not a problem. It's just information.
Okay, break it down for us. What's actually happening in that sentence?
Great question. Let's slow it down. I was gonna tell you.
So that's I was going to tell you.
Right. Native speakers rarely say going to in casual speech. It becomes gonna.
So if someone only learned textbook English, this sounds unfamiliar.
Exactly. Now the second part. But I figured you'd already heard.
Figured means thought?
Yes, but not just thought. It's more like I assumed based on context.
Oh, that's more nuanced.
And then you'd already heard, which is you had already heard.
That contraction, you'd, I think that confuses a lot of people.
It does, because you'd can mean you had or you would, depending on context.
That's actually tricky.
Exactly. So now here's the deeper test.
There's more?
Always. Imagine someone says this to you in real life, quickly, casually, no subtitles.
Yeah.
Would you respond naturally or freeze for a second?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that pause is real.
And that pause? That's your gap. That's where improvement needs to happen.
Okay, this is starting to feel very real.
Good, because language is lived, not memorized.
Can we try something? Like give them a situation?
Perfect idea.
Okay, guys, imagine this. Your friend says, "Hey, I was gonna call you yesterday, but I got busy." What do you say back?
Don't overthink. First response. What comes to your mind?
Yeah, pause the video if you need to. Actually answer it.
Because this is where your active English shows up, not just listening.
Okay, I'd probably say, "Oh, no worries, I was busy too."
That's natural. Simple, correct, fluent.
But I know some people might say something like, "It is okay, I also was busy."
Which is understandable, but slightly unnatural in rhythm.
So the difference is small, but important.
Exactly. Fluency lives in small details.
That's kind of scary.
Or exciting, because small improvements create big results.
True.
Now let's raise the difficulty just a little.
Uh-oh.
New sentence. Listen carefully. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it.
That sounds easier, I think.
Maybe, but here's the twist.
There's always a twist.
What does this sentence really mean emotionally?
Like, you're thankful, but also saying it wasn't necessary?
Exactly. It's polite gratitude.
So if someone just translates word by word, they might miss the feeling.
Yes, and English is full of these emotional layers.
So understanding English isn't just about words, it's about intention.
Now you're thinking like a fluent speaker.
I'm learning.
And here's a question for you watching. When you hear sentences like this, do you feel the emotion or just understand the words?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because true fluency is when meaning hits you instantly, without effort.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Good, because in the next part, we're going deeper.
How much deeper can this go?
We're about to test something most learners completely ignore.
Which is?
Your ability to handle uncertainty in English conversations.
That already sounds uncomfortable.
It is, and that's exactly why it reveals your true level.
All right, I'm nervous again.
You should be, because the next situation will expose whether you can survive real conversations or just controlled ones.
Okay, now I really want to know what's coming next.
Stay with us, because this next test might completely change how you see your English. All right, let's step into something real.
Okay, I'm ready, I think.
Imagine this. You're in a conversation with someone, and suddenly they say something you don't fully understand.
Oh no, that happens all the time.
Exactly. And here's the test. Not whether you understood everything, but what you do next.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Because most learners panic.
Yeah, like your brain just freezes and you smile awkwardly.
Or you say yes even when you didn't understand.
I've done that, and then the conversation goes completely wrong.
That's a universal experience. But here's where your real English level shows itself.
So what should you do instead?
Let's create the situation. Someone says to you, I might swing by later if things don't run too late.
Okay, wait, swing by. That's already tricky.
Exactly. So now the question for you watching. Did you understand that instantly?
Be honest, did you pause there?
Because swing by doesn't literally mean swinging.
Yeah, no one is actually swinging anywhere.
It means visit briefly.
And if things don't run too late means if they don't get too busy or delayed?
Exactly. So the full meaning is, I might visit you later if I'm not too busy.
Okay, but in real life they wouldn't explain it like that.
Never. And that's the challenge.
So what do you do if you don't understand?
Here are 3 natural responses. And this is powerful because this is where learners become speakers.
Okay, I'm listening.
First, sorry, what do you mean by swing by?
That sounds confident, not embarrassed.
Exactly. Second, do you mean you might come over later?
Oh, so you're confirming your understanding.
Yes. And third, sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say it again?
That one feels very real.
Because it is. Fluent speakers don't understand everything. They manage conversations.
That's such a big mindset shift.
And here's a question for you watching. When you don't understand something, do you ask or do you stay silent?
Yeah, that answer says a lot about your confidence.
And confidence is part of fluency.
This is starting to feel less like a test and more like a mirror.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, can we try another one?
Let's make it slightly harder.
Of course you will.
Someone says, I was kind of hoping you'd bring it up.
Okay, I understand the words, but it feels indirect.
Good observation. What do you think it means?
Maybe they wanted me to talk about something, but I didn't?
Exactly. It's a polite way of saying, I didn't want to mention it first, but I wanted you to.
Oh, that's subtle.
English is full of this indirect communication.
So if someone only understands direct sentences, they'll miss this completely.
Yes, and that's the gap between intermediate and advanced.
Wow.
Now let's test you again,
Me specifically?
and everyone watching.
Okay.
If someone says that to you, I was kind of hoping you'd bring it up. How do you respond?
Maybe, oh, I didn't realize. What did you want to talk about?
That's excellent. Natural, open, and confident.
That actually felt good to say.
Because it's real communication.
I think a lot of people might say nothing or just laugh nervously.
Exactly. And silence often breaks conversations.
So this test is really about reactions.
Yes, real-time reactions.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
What if someone understands everything but still struggles to respond?
That's a crucial point. That means their passive English is strong, but their active English needs work.
Passive versus active. Okay.
Passive is what you understand. Active is what you can produce.
So someone might understand 90% but only speak 50%.
Exactly. And that's very common.
So how do you fix that?
Practice responding, not just listening.
Like what we're doing now?
Exactly. That's why this format works so well.
Okay, I'm starting to feel more aware of my own gaps,
Good. Awareness creates progress.
but also a little uncomfortable.
Growth is always a bit uncomfortable.
Fair enough.
Now, let's go deeper.
There's more?
Always, because now we're going to test something even more subtle.
I'm scared again.
Good, because this next part reveals whether you truly feel English or just process it.
What does that even mean?
You'll see, and when you do, you might realize something surprising about your level.
Okay, now I really need to know.
Stay with us, because this next part might completely change how you experience English conversations. All right, now we're entering a completely different level of the test.
I can already feel it. This is where things get serious, right?
This is where most learners realize something unexpected.
Which is?
That understanding words is not the same as feeling the message.
Okay, that sounds deep. What do you mean by feeling English?
Let's test it. I'll give you 2 sentences. Both are correct. Both mean something similar.
Okay,
First one, I'm a little tired.
simple.
Second one, I'm exhausted.
Also simple, just stronger, right?
Exactly. But here's the real question for you watching. When you hear these sentences, do you feel the difference instantly, or do you translate and analyze it?
Oh, like, do you emotionally understand it?
Yes, because fluent speakers don't just understand vocabulary, they experience intensity, tone, and nuance immediately.
So, a little tired feels light, and exhausted feels heavy.
Exactly. No translation, just feeling.
That's actually a big difference.
And here's where it gets interesting. Let's go one step further.
Of course we are.
Listen to this. I'm kind of tired.
That feels softer, less direct.
Yes, kind of reduces intensity. It makes the sentence more casual, more indirect.
So it's not just what you say, it's how strongly you say it.
Now you're thinking like a native speaker.
I'm starting to see how complex this really is.
And here's a question for you watching. When you speak English, do you choose words based on meaning or based on feeling?
Wow, I've never thought about that before.
Most learners focus only on meaning, but fluency lives in emotional accuracy.
Emotional accuracy. That's powerful.
Now let's test something even more subtle.
I knew you were going to say that.
Listen carefully. That's interesting.
Okay, that sounds normal.
Or is it?
Wait, what do you mean?
This sentence can mean different things depending on tone.
Oh,
It can mean, I'm genuinely interested.
or?
Or, I don't agree, but I'm being polite.
Oh, wow, that's completely different.
Same words, different meaning.
So if someone only understands the literal meaning, they'll miss the real message.
Exactly. And that's where advanced listening begins.
That's kind of scary, because you might misunderstand people without realizing it.
That happens all the time.
Okay, now I'm thinking about all my past conversations.
Good. Reflection is part of growth.
So how do you improve that? How do you start feeling English?
You need exposure to real conversations, not just textbooks.
Like this?
Exactly like this.
Okay, can we try a situation?
Let's do it.
All right, guys, imagine this. You tell someone your idea,
and they respond, that's interesting. What do you think they mean?
And don't rush this. Think about tone, context, facial expression.
Yeah, are they excited or just being polite?
Because your interpretation changes your response.
Okay, if they sound excited, I'd say, I'm glad you like it.
Good.
But if they sound unsure, maybe I'd say, be honest, what do you think?
That's advanced communication right there.
That actually feels like a real conversation.
Because it is.
This is actually opening my eyes.
Good. Because now we're about to go even deeper.
There's still more?
Now we test speed.
Speed?
Yes, because understanding slowly is one thing, but real conversations move fast.
Oh no, I struggle with that.
Most people do, and this is where your brain either keeps up or falls behind.
Okay, I'm nervous again.
Good. That means you're engaged.
What's the test?
I'm going to say something quickly, like in a real conversation.
All right.
I don't know, I kind of felt like it wasn't really worth it in the end.
Wait, what?
Exactly.
That was fast and messy.
That's real English.
Okay, break it down.
I don't know equals I don't know.
Right.
I kind of felt like equals I kind of felt that.
Okay.
It wasn't really worth it in the end equals it had no real value eventually.
Okay, but when you said it fast, it felt completely different.
That's the point. Native speech compresses everything.
So if someone only learns clear, slow English, they'll struggle in real life.
Exactly.
So here's the big question for you watching. Could you follow that sentence the first time?
Be honest. No judgment.
Yeah, this is just data about your level.
And here's the key insight. Fluency isn't about perfection, it's about comfort with imperfection.
That's interesting. What do you mean?
Fluent speakers don't catch every word. They catch enough to understand.
Oh, so they don't panic when they miss something.
Exactly. They stay in the conversation.
That's a huge mindset shift.
And that's what separates learners from communicators.
Okay, I feel like something just clicked for me.
Good, because in the next part,
There's always a next part.
we're going to test something that most people avoid completely.
Now I'm curious again.
Your ability to express complex thoughts in simple English.
That actually sounds really useful.
It is, and it might reveal a gap you didn't even know you had.
Okay, I need to see this.
Stay with us, because this next challenge might completely change how you speak English from now on. Alright, now we're stepping into one of the most revealing parts of this entire test.
I feel like you say that every time, but it keeps getting harder.
Because each layer exposes something new. And this one hits almost everyone.
Okay, what are we testing now?
Your ability to express a complex idea using simple English.
That sounds easy, but I feel like it's not.
Exactly. It sounds easy, but most learners struggle with it more than anything else.
Why?
Because many people believe that advanced English means using difficult words.
Wait, isn't that true?
That's the myth.
Then what are we testing?
Your thinking process.
Oh, that sounds serious.
It is. Because here's the truth. Fluent speakers don't just know English.
Yeah?
They think in English.
Okay, I've heard that before, but I don't fully understand what it means.
Good. Let's break it down in a real, practical way.
Please do.
Imagine this situation. Someone asks you, "What did you do this weekend?"
Simple question.
Now here's the test. When you answer, what happens in your mind first? Do you think in your native language and then translate into English?
Honestly, yeah, most of the time.
That's the key difference.
So fluent speakers don't translate?
No, they go directly from thought to English.
That sounds fast.
It is, and that's why they respond instantly.
So the delay comes from translation.
Exactly. Translation creates hesitation.
Okay, but how do you stop doing that? It feels automatic.
That's because your brain is trained that way.
So we need to retrain it?
Yes, and here's how it starts.
I'm listening.
Instead of thinking full, complex ideas, you start with small, simple thoughts in English.
Like what?
For example, instead of thinking, "I had a very relaxing weekend where I spent time with my family and watched a movie,"
Yeah?
you think, weekend, good, family, movie.
Oh, like basic building blocks.
Exactly. Then you build the sentence from there,
That actually feels easier.
because it removes pressure.
So fluency isn't about thinking perfectly, it's about thinking simply.
That's a powerful realization.
Okay, let's test this.
Good idea.
Ask me something.
All right, what did you eat yesterday?
Okay, normally I think in my language first, but now I'll try directly. Yesterday I ate rice and chicken and later I had tea.
Perfect.
That felt surprisingly natural.
Because you stayed inside English.
I didn't translate, I just built it step by step.
That's exactly how fluent thinking works.
Wow, this is a big shift.
And here's a question for you watching. When you speak English, are you translating or building thoughts directly?
Be honest, this is important.
Because that answer reveals your current thinking level.
Okay, but what about more complex ideas?
Great question. Let's go there.
I knew it.
Imagine you want to say, I feel like I'm improving slowly, but I still lack confidence when speaking.
That's definitely more complex.
Now, instead of translating, break it into simple thoughts.
Okay, maybe I am improving slowly, but I don't feel confident when I speak.
Excellent.
That actually works.
And it sounds natural.
So you don't need perfect structure, just clear ideas.
Exactly.
I think this removes a lot of fear.
That's the goal.
Because people think they need perfect sentences before speaking.
And that belief stops them from speaking at all.
That's so true.
Now here's something even deeper.
There's more?
Always. Fluent thinkers don't panic when they make mistakes.
Really?
They expect them.
That's very different.
Because their focus is communication, not perfection.
So mistakes don't stop them.
Exactly. They keep going.
I think a lot of learners stop mid-sentence when they feel unsure.
And that breaks fluency.
So the goal is to keep moving, even if it's not perfect.
Yes, momentum matters more than accuracy in real conversations.
That's such a relief to hear.
And here's a question for you watching. When you make a mistake, do you stop or do you continue?
Yeah, think about your last conversation.
Because that habit defines your speaking level.
This is honestly changing how I see everything.
Good, because we're about to connect all the pieces.
Finally.
In the next part,
Of course.
we're going to bring everything together. Your listening, your reactions, your thinking, your speaking.
Like a final test?
Exactly.
Okay, I'm nervous but also excited.
You should be, because this final section will reveal your English level more clearly than anything else we've done.
All right, I'm ready.
Stay with us, because the next part is where everything becomes crystal clear. All right? This is it.
The final test?
The moment where everything connects. Your listening, your reactions, your thinking, your speaking.
Okay, I'm actually a little nervous.
That's a good sign. It means you care. And if you're watching right now, this is your moment too.
Yeah, don't just watch, actually participate.
Exactly. Because this final challenge is simple, but very revealing.
What do we have to do?
I'm going to describe a real-life situation. Then, I'll ask you a question, and you have to respond. Naturally, quickly, honestly.
No overthinking?
No overthinking. Just real communication.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine this. You meet someone after a long time. They smile and say, "Hey, it's been a while. What have you been up to?"
That question again.
Yes, but now you understand it.
Okay.
Now here's the test. Answer it, out loud if you can.
Yeah, seriously, pause the video and say it.
Don't aim for perfection. Aim for connection.
I'll try. Yeah, it's been a while. I've just been working a lot and trying to improve my English.
That's great. Natural, clear, human.
That actually felt real.
Because it is real.
Okay, what's next?
The conversation continues. The person says, "That's nice. Has it been going well?"
Oh, follow-up question.
Exactly. Now respond again.
Yeah, I think so. I'm getting better, but I still feel nervous sometimes.
Excellent.
I didn't think too much. I just spoke.
That's the goal.
Okay, keep going.
Now the person says, "Honestly, you sound pretty good to me."
Oh, wow, that's a compliment.
Yes. Now here's the interesting part. How do you respond to compliments in English?
Oh, that's tricky.
Many learners either reject the compliment or don't know what to say.
Yeah, like saying, no, my English is bad.
Exactly. That's very common, but not natural in English conversation.
So what should you say?
Try it.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Perfect.
That feels confident, but not arrogant.
Exactly.
Wow, this whole conversation feels like something that could really happen.
Because it does happen. Every day.
So this is the real test of English, not grammar exercises.
Yes, real conversations are the ultimate test.
Okay, I have a question. Go ahead. What if someone couldn't answer these questions smoothly?
Then they've just discovered their growth area.
So it's not failure, it's feedback.
Exactly.
I like that.
Now let's zoom out for a moment.
Okay.
Think about everything we've tested today.
Listening speed, understanding real phrases,
Handling confusion,
expressing ideas simply,
feeling tone and emotion,
thinking in English.
and responding naturally in conversation.
That's a lot.
And here's the truth. Your English level is not one number.
Oh,
It's a combination of all these skills.
so someone might be strong in one area and weak in another.
Exactly.
That explains why learning feels uneven sometimes.
Because it is.
So how do you improve overall?
Focus on real communication, not just study.
That makes sense.
Speak more, listen more, react more.
Use English, not just learn it.
Exactly.
This has been eye-opening.
Good. That was the goal.
I feel like I understand my level much better now.
And if you're watching right now, ask yourself honestly,
Yeah, where are you strong?
where do you hesitate?
Where do you feel confident?
And where do you feel uncomfortable?
Because those answers matter.
Now here's something important.
What?
Progress doesn't come from knowing your level.
It comes from working on your gaps.
Exactly.
That's powerful.
And if this conversation helped you see your English more clearly,
Then don't keep it to yourself.
share it with someone who's also learning.
And comment below what surprised you the most.
We read your comments, and it helps you stay accountable.
Also, if you felt challenged,
That means you're growing.
and that's a good thing,
And if you want more conversations like this, real, practical, and engaging,
then subscribe to Talk Easy Daily,
because this is where English becomes something you live.
not just something you study.
Exactly.
This was honestly one of my favorite conversations.
Mine too.
And I feel like we just helped a lot of people today.
That's what matters.
All right, see you in the next one.
See you in the next one.
And remember,
Your English improves the moment you start using it.
not when you make it perfect.
See you soon.
Bye.